it simply means more hardships, more difficulties, more problems in Nigerians.
Okay.
As it is, when economy declines, it means more unemployment. It means less productivity because if there is unemployment, there may not be adequate output from the industrial sector and other sectors like agriculture. And then subsequently, there may be limited output, and that will cause some little higher prices. And coupled with this problem of COVID-19 that has crippled the entire global economy, and Nigeria not actually isolated, certainly it will compound it. And the main cause of this current decline is the lockdown as a result of COVID.
Yes, sir.
So this continuous decline simply means more hardship to the people, more people will be unemployed, and there's going to be less output, and there's going to be a little higher prices. So people will be subjected to more economic problems.
Is this synonymous to the country going into recession? Does this mean that the country is on the
Well,
verge of recession?
actually, we are on our way to recession. We just had it. Within 4 years, we are about to have two recessions. Economically, we measure recession if there are two consecutive negative GDP growth. Not negative GDP growth, but if the GDP rate itself is negative, rather than, because a negative growth may mean GDP growing at 5% and then later growing at 4%. That means there's a decline. But this means the entire growth in GDP is now in negative rather than any positive number. If you can remember, the last quarter of 21.9%, we have been moving around 2%, which was very slow since we emerged out of recession, the last recession. So the growth has been very slow, and then there was a decline by the end of 2020. I mean, the beginning of 2020, that is end of 2019. The GDP was just about 1.9%. And unfortunately, we entered into the first quarter, and the GDP growth declined. I mean, it was the first quarter that was 1.9%. By 2020, by end of 2019, it was around 2.2%. But by the end of March, it was 1.9. So unfortunately, that was when we were hit by Corona, and now it is minus 6.1. And certainly, minus 6.1 is so deep that all of us have lost hope. We hardly can emerge can have positive growth by the end of the September. So certainly, we are on our way to imminent recession.
Okay,
Prof. So by the time, yeah.
Okay, from what you just explained now, it shows that the country cannot blame this present situation on coronavirus alone. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. Well, yes. If there is any problem, there can be major factors and there can be some other factors. The major factor this time around is Corona. But certainly, Corona hit almost all the countries in the world. But the rate of, the effect on countries differs based on the economic basis in those countries. For instance, for long, economists have been suggesting that there should be diversification of Nigerian economy, since the way we were hit seriously is because of our major export, which is oil. Countries have locked down. There was no movement, blocked. Businesses are not running. International trade almost was at a halt. So, and the main good thing that we sell is only marketable when industries are working, when aeroplanes are flying, when economies are moving. But, there was lockdown. Even cars were not moving. Everybody was locked at home. So the demand for oil seriously fell. And at that time, unfortunately, there was conflict between Saudi Arabia and Russia, which they embark on price battle in the world market until they seriously made impact on the market, negative impact when they were able to resolve that. And up to this moment, the effect is still there. Price of oil is still very low. And so, assuming, oh, had it been this country, it's a little bit diversified. Manufacturing sector, agri sector, and our industrial sector are not directly linked to external sector as it is now, that most of the inputs are imported. So we would have been operating, even though we were also in a lockdown. But, since government relaxed the lockdown a bit, the industry would have picked up. But unfortunately, our reliance on just that one product made us to be vulnerable to all shocks, no matter how small they are internationally. Certainly there is effect of COVID, and there is also effect of negligence on part of our leaders for them to really put the economy into a sound bed. So, sincerely speaking, even without COVID, we were in trouble. The unemployment was so serious. The major approach taken to address unemployment was not adequate. This end power out of 13, 14, 20 million youths that are unemployed, only not up to 1 million are actually catered for under this program. And it is also the measures that have been taken by government to curb unemployment is also temporary. It's a temporary measure. We have just told us that those that have enjoyed the end power are supposed to have actually graduated now, and they are recruiting another one. So, to me, rather than to give 1 million people temporary jobs that will last 1 year or some months, it's better you give 300,000 people permanent jobs. Because this temporary job can, you may end up causing problems, because people that are contented with unemployment, that are living on zero income or just marginal income, and now you put their, you raise them up to the level of 30,000 naira. They have developed consumption habits, kind of clothes they will wear, kind of food, maybe they have identified a restaurant where they will eat, and then suddenly you stop that program. Some of them will pick up weapons and start blocking our roads in order to maintain the status.
Okay, Prof. Just two more before I let you go, sir.
Yeah.
A common man is just hearing the decline in 10 years, recession, and what does the future hold for an average Nigerian, an ordinary Nigerian on the streets?
Well, certainly it is we, the economists, that are talking about economic growth. And certainly sometimes there may not be very serious correlation between the figures we are talking about and what is happening in reality. I have been relating to common people, and their concern is all these figures economists are mentioning, that economy is picking up, economy is doing this and that. They have not seen it on ground. What matters to common man is what he can be able to put on his table. Can he eat 3 times in a day? Is he having any gainful employment? How is his income? 80% or more than 80% of us are said to be living below the poverty line. And most of these economic figures that we are actually addressing are not affecting those people. It's only, those talk about economy growing, it affects few people. And mostly, especially here in the northern part of the country, where we have more population of the illiterate people. But even if the economy has grown, these kind of people may not gain any job. They will still remain, a beggar. And somebody who has been to primary school, no matter how the economy is good, that person cannot gain employment in most of the big institutions. So certainly, to common man, there is still nothing on ground. Even when we are saying economy has come up from recession last time, as far as they are concerned, they have been in recession for more than 20 years.
So what was not the future for them?
Well, actually, to me, I am not that very optimistic, because most of the policies government is taking are not sincerely and adequately addressing those problems. If I may give you an example, this program they want to start of taking 1,000 people in every local government. We were happy earlier, but when we see the content of the program, that is going to last just 3 months. It's just going to be October, November, December, and it's all over. So what kind of remedy? This is just a fire brigade approach. You're just alleviating a little bit of the poverty. But what is required is a permanent solution. But all these for the solution government is taking, they are just ad hoc solutions. They are not even adequate. Even They said 20 or 30,000. If you give somebody 20,000 times three, what is he going to make out of that? Is he going to make it as capital? What is he not going to eat within the 3 months to keep the money? And if you keep 30,000 times three, 90,000, what kind of business, sustainable business can you run with that under this condition of inflation, high exchange rate, and so on and so forth? So certainly, we have not started teaching the
Uh,
and diversification also requires huge amount of money that government is claiming not to have.